Pokemon's CEO doubted Nintendo Switch could be a hit. The Pokemon Company's chief executive has gone on the record to say he didn't think the Nintendo Switch would be a hit. And this is a funny story going around right now because of the course. I said it again.
We'll do it live.
Because, of course, the console is setting sales records. The whole thing is, CEO didn't think the Switch was going to do that well because, I don't know, he just decided to think that because everyone kind of just doubts Nintendo these days because they don't bring good things to the table. I don't know why people think that. He says, I came to realize the key to a successful... Nope, that's too far. No. I came to realize the key to a successful game is quite simple. Software and absolute quality leads sales of hardware, he told Bloomberg. I guess that was the reporter he was talking to when he said this. I told Nintendo that Switch wouldn't be a success before it went on sale because I thought that at the age of smartphone, no one would carry out a game console.
No one would carry out a game console because of smartphones.
Exactly, because everyone knows that smartphones have the leading sales in portable gaming content.
Right. When you think gaming, you think smartphones.
Right.
And to be honest, to be fair, you can get some good gaming experiences on a smartphone.
Sometimes.
But it's I feel like only certain genres work on a phone. Like, I want to say there's several very good games on smartphones, like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI. You ever seen anyone playing Final Fantasy VI or Chrono Trigger on a smartphone?
Nope.
Yeah. Number one, they're overpriced, and secondly, it's kind of like that's not what people think of when they think of their smartphone. If they're gonna play a game designed for their smartphone, they're gonna take out Angry Birds. They're gonna take out Clash of Clans. You're gonna do one of those games that was specifically designed for a smartphone. Kind of like how I don't know anyone who owns the Angry Birds trilogy on a handheld or a console, because you don't think of that game as being on those systems.
No, are they really on consoles?
Yeah,
that's
you can get. I think it's Angry Birds Star Wars and the Angry Birds trilogy.
I just thought that there were 2 Angry Birds games. I mean, I know the spin-off games like Angry Birds Rio, the one with the bluebird.
Yeah,
I know about the Star Wars one. There may have been another one. I can't remember.
There was
the superhero one.
There was an Angry Birds 2 also.
Yeah. Rhythm games. Most rhythm and beat games on smartphones are actually really fun to play.
And network connected games like Clash of Clans.
Yeah.
You know, those types of things, but like I think it was Dead Trigger was a developer who came out with some really graphically impressive FPS games, but no one plays them because touchscreen controls are not meant for shooters.
I've played a few shooters on my phone back in the good old days of 9th and 12th grade when I was an edgelord, and it was hard because not only did you have to you basically had to like use your thumb to control where you were looking, and you also had to use the same thumb to fire your gun because your other thumb was controlling where you were going. Right. So
you've got no triggers. You've got,
right. It's a very good idea. I don't want to say good idea. It was very impressive for what I thought like could be on a smartphone. Right. Because it didn't look bad as far as like graphics go. No. It looked like I was playing like almost something better than like a Metroid looking game. It was kind of like a mix between like Metroid and Halo. Was the type of game, and the graphics looked pretty good. It looked like something I would play on a DS game. But I think you could really only enjoy that kind of stuff with like those weird like hold the controller holders for phones where like you slide it in and it's got like an actual controller inside of it and you just don't really play with it like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not about to spend money on a controller like that because I'm not that invested.
Right.
I'm never going to do something like that. But yeah, for this is they're really just talking about how they didn't think that the Nintendo Switch was going to do that well because of just the games that were coming out for it.
Well, in the Switch, I mean, it's both a portable and a home console, but I would say the emphasis is more on the portable aspect of it. So he's thinking, people have iPads, they have smartphones, they're not going to go for this. Like, basically thinking, like, we were lucky the 3DS was successful because the 3DS had a really rocky start. And it didn't really start selling until Mario Kart 7 came out, and they dropped the price by about $70. That's when people started buying it because they're like, I'm not going to pay $250 for portable when I can have a tablet that can do much more for the same price. Like, no one was doing that with the 3DS, so they had to cut the price, get Mario Kart 7 out, and it started selling. What really annoys me about this article, and we found this on Polygon, and I believe the author is Owen Good, and he just kind of sums it up as, in response to this article in Bloomberg with the Pokemon CEO, he's basically saying, yeah, dummy, it's games. The reason why consoles sell is because of the games. I used to think that myself, but games don't always sell consoles. I think the Wii U had plenty of good games on it. I would say the Wii U had, percentage-wise, more good games on it than the Wii did, because the Wii was full of shovelware on it. It was.
No, I just...
Think I was going to say something else?
I thought you were about to say something completely. I was like, and there goes the family-friendly.
No, we are a family-friendly. It was full of shovelware.
That's just my brain.
But I think, percentage-wise, it had better games on it than the Wii did. Still sold so poorly. The worst-selling console of Nintendo's timeline. And the reasonings that Owen uses are completely baffling to me, because he says at one point, well, they waited too long to sell to release Mario Kart 8 and Super Smash Brothers. Well, Super Smash Brothers was released 2 years into the console's lifespan, the same as Smash Brothers Brawl was released in the Wii's lifespan. We launched in 06, Brawl came out in 08, and Melee came out a year into the GameCube's lifespan. And GameCube, although it outsold the Wii U, still considered a failure as far as sales go. So it doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the games. The games certainly influence things, like he brought up the PlayStation Vita. The Vita failed because it didn't have enough games on it to warrant a purchase. Completely agree with that. Games can kill your system. But if you do like what they did with the Wii U and they market it in a way where the average consumer is not going to even know that this is a new console, or look at the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy actually had pretty decent games on it. Too bad it gave you brain cancer whenever you played it. I mean, it was ridiculously uncomfortable to play that. And a lot of people were thinking like, oh, 3DS, they're doing 3D again. When was the last time Nintendo did 3D? Oh, it was a Virtual Boy, and that failed. It's like, yeah, but here's the thing about the 3DS. It doesn't just show red and black as its color palette, okay? So, yeah, the Virtual Boy didn't fail because of bad games or lack of games on it. It failed because it was pointless. It was an experiment that backfired. The whole wearing a headset with stereoscopic 3D and having a really bad color choice for that. But yeah, I think it's, you can't just look at a console and a lot of people were wrong about the Switch. A lot of people thought that the Switch was going to fail. I don't think that we really even offered an opinion on it. I think we were cautiously enthusiastic.
I thought that it was too early to make a decision on it because there weren't very many games that were known to be on it at the time.
Right.
It was ARMS, 1-2 Switch, Breath of the Wild, and then they had showed a small trailer for Super Mario Odyssey, and that was, I think, it at the time. They had released a list of devs that they were working with to make consoles for it, but there wasn't really enough information there, other than the specs of the console, what it looked like, and the games that it was going to be launched with. And if we're going to go along with that, like Xbox always launches with it's always some kind of Forza game, which I honestly, I don't know very many people who even play Forza.
I think I know one person that plays Forza.
I love racing games. I think they're really fun,
they're fine.
Especially when you play them with people like me and Wyatt, and another one of our buddies. We bought the Crew because we saw it as like, oh man, you can like.
That was the open world one.
We
right?
were like, it's an MMO with cars.
Yeah, that's okay.
We were like, we can be a gang, and we thought it was like a really cool, and it is a really cool idea. And I'm kind of looking. I played Destiny, and I got bored of it after 3 months because Destiny on its before the DLC was just like, it was a 3-hour game. You could beat the game really short. It looked really pretty, and it reminded me of Halo, but it wasn't Halo, and it wasn't really that good until the DLC came out. But I'm not about to do all of that, so I sold it, got rid of it, did something else. Kind of did the same thing with the Crew. Destiny 2 is looking pretty good. I have it in my eyes. I'm watching the Crew, but I completely forgot where I was going with that. Now I'm just thinking about Destiny 2. What did I start off? My mouth ran faster than my brain could think.
I guess maybe you were going to tie it into what we thought about the Switch.
The Switch, right. I still have no idea. That was my ADD at work.
Right. Well, I think we were cautiously optimistic. Yeah, we didn't know what games were going to be out for it when it was, still called the NX. I think the first game that everyone knew was, they're going to have Breath of the Wild on the Wii U and on the, as it was called before, the NX.
Yeah.
And you could make the argument that, well, maybe if they hadn't done the Switch and they just were going to stick with the Wii U for a little bit longer and they only released Breath of the Wild on the Wii U, you would have seen some console sales out of it. I think some people would have bought the console just to play Breath of the Wild, especially after the reviews. But what did they do with the Switch? They had a Super Bowl commercial. I don't think Nintendo's ever done that before, just to showcase the Switch. Yeah, that'll sell it. What won't sell a console is when you make it out to be like the Wii U, and it's like, here's a gamepad, here's a gamepad, here's a gamepad, here's a gamepad, and call it the Wii U, when basically every single accessory for the Wii was called Wii something. Wii Mote, Wii Fit, Wii Board, Wii, I'm surprised the nunchuck didn't try to shoehorn in the word Wii. It was just called the nunchuck. Everything was Wii this or that. Even a lot of the games were. It was kind of like, Super Nintendo syndrome all over again, where a whole bunch of the games are Super this. Why? Because it's on the Super Nintendo, or something 64. 64! Same number as this podcast. But yeah, don't worry, Mr. Pokemon.
Yes, please. It's okay to make a game for this console. Please do it.
Please do it now.
Do it.